I'm Ant Gould and I'm here in Manchester at the AMEC conference with Chris Slay, CEO of Marsh UK. Welcome, Chris.
Great to be here, thank you.
My first question is, obviously, we're living in a time of sort of societal, geopolitical and economic risks, which are sort of dominating the risk landscape. Also, at the same time, with interlinked risks. So what are you able to do? What do you think about the pace of change?
Yeah, no, well, firstly, it's great to be here because I think part of the answer to the question is actually coming together and having conversations and collaborating around what are fast-moving and complicated issues. But from a Marsh & McLennan perspective, we've always felt that risk is very interconnected and not siloed. It's something that we're actually trying to address ourselves as an organisation because Marsh & McLennan is a risk strategy and people firm. We spent a lot of time actually over the last year coming together ourselves to make sure that the interconnectedness of risk is really represented in the way we work with our clients. I mean, this week we actually have the Ukraine Recovery Conference in London, which is probably a good example of something that wasn't on our radar screen, or may have been on the radar screen, but not impacting our lives a couple of years ago. And here we are now dealing with the issues that, apart from the human tragedy and the conflict, the impact on our supply chains, the impact on our people, the impact on technology. There are so many things that perhaps have come to light. So it is complicated, but I think the most important thing is to come together and to collaborate around issues that we may not have seen before, but we have a lot of capability to deliver against.
Yeah, thank you. And sticking with that theme, obviously, we're going through a period of polycrisis, I think is the term, and obviously sort of simultaneous risks at the same time. How can you, as a broker, help clients, and what can risk managers do to help themselves?
Yes, I think the term polycrisis sounds really challenging, doesn't it? So I think the most important thing is to sort of keep some perspective, step back and say, risk is actually not a bad thing. I mean, without risk, nothing happens. We live in the world of risk. How do we deal with this more complicated environment we're in? We have frameworks for that, starting with the way in which we think about enterprise risk. We have greater level of technology now. We're building digital twins to actually simulate supply chain risk, for example, in ways which we couldn't do before. We've got amazing data that we're bringing to the fore and alternative capital that can be brought to some of these solutions. But insights and learning are also important. As you know, we continue with our collaboration with the World Economic Forum, which is all about trying to understand where is risk heading, not where has it come from, and what do we need to be doing to adjust for that change.
Okay, now if you think about the risk landscape, I suppose one of the key words really is uncertainty and continued uncertainty. Can the insurance market, and how can the insurance market innovate to support clients?
So I think the most important thing for us to do is to keep sight of our data, because data is a sort of foundation to give capital confidence to get deployed in interesting and innovative and different ways. We often talk about product innovation, but we need capital innovation, and for that we need data, and we have a lot more of it, and we have great tools to deploy that. So data and insights I think is really important. I'd also actually emphasize talent, because you talk about what can we do to think about the future and innovation and change. We need more diverse talent. We need people who think differently, see things differently, and so that talent isn't just a balance of gender or ethnicity, it's also neurodiverse, it's also socioeconomic diversity in our workforce, in our workforces and in the industry. And that's something which we're at Marsh & McLennan very committed to, and not just for our sake, but for the sake of the industry. As president of the London Insurance Institute this year, I talked about dialing up our purpose as my theme, and a lot of that, underpinning of that, is not just telling our story, but having the talent for the future that can attack the issues that our clients face. So I'm actually pretty excited about the role we have to play in the issues that we face.
Thanks, Chris. Some real food for thought there, and some very important challenges. But have a great conference.
Thanks so much.